6.2.12, the Buddha said, "Monks, there are these 6 ways of being considerate, which endear, bring honor, lead to concord, banish contention, lead to unity, lead to singleness of mind." What 6? Herein, monks, a monk's part is goodwill in deed towards his fellows in the holy life, openly and in private. Verily, this is a way of being considerate. Again, his part is goodwill in word, goodwill in thought, towards his fellows in the holy life, openly and in private. This also is a way of being considerate. Then, those gains gotten according to rule, be they but bold scraps, he loves to share them impartially, to have them in common with his virtuous fellows in the holy life. This also is a way of being considerate. And those virtues that are unbroken, without flaw, spotless, without blemish, bringing freedom, praised by wise men, incorruptible, leading to concentration, he dwells one in virtue with them among his fellows in the holy life, openly and in private. This also is a way of being considerate. And that Aryan view, saving, leading him who acts accordingly to the utter destruction of dukkha, or ill. He dwells one in view with that among his fellows in the holy life, openly and in private. This also is a way of being considerate. Verily, monks, these are the 6 ways of being considerate, which endear, bring honor, lead to concord, banish contention, lead to unity, lead to singleness of mind. It's the end of the sutta. This sutta, but with is also mentioned in the Digha Nikaya, number 16, Mahaparinibbana Sutta. And the Buddha there said that there are certain conditions. If a group of people or a race, etc., are to be harmonious, are to be strong, there are certain things that they should practice. And in particular for monks, these are important. The first one, if monks live together, they should have goodwill towards each other in deed, in their action. Whether openly or in private, they should show metta, goodwill in their actions towards the other people in the monastery that they live with. The second one, they should have metta or goodwill in their words, openly and in private, towards the other monks who live in the community, in the monastery. Third one is goodwill in thought towards his fellow monks in the monastery, whether openly or in private, he should have metta. And then the fourth one, those gains, those offerings that he receives, those extra that he receives, he should share them impartially with his fellow monks in the holy life. Sometimes, even if it's not excess, sometimes he sees that other monks don't have, it is good to share, because this metta, if we show metta towards others, we receive it back in return. And the fifth one is the virtues, moral conduct. He should practice them so that he gains the respect and love of his fellows, companions in the holy life. And then the right view also he should attain, so that he can dwell in concord and harmony with his companions in the holy life. And that right view, we heard earlier, to attain right view, we must be very familiar with the discourses of the Buddha, and then only we can attain the right view. The next sutta, 6.2.13, is an important sutta. Monks, there are these 6 factors whereby should be escaped. What 6? Monks. Suppose a monk were to say this, of a truth, I have made mine emancipation become by goodwill, metta, made an increase of it, made a vehicle of it, made a home of it, dwelt with it, gathered it together, set it well going. Yet ill will invades my heart and stays. Speak to him and say, Go now, speak not so, Reverend Sir, distort not the word of the Exalted One. Ill is it to distort his word thus. Verily, the Exalted One would never speak so. It is not possible, sir, nor could it happen, that when mine emancipation is made become by goodwill, made an increase of, made a vehicle of, made a home of, dwelt with, gathered together, and set well going, ill will can invade one's heart and stay. It is not possible. Indeed, sir, this is just the escape from ill will. I mean, mine emancipation by goodwill. Or suppose a monk were to say this, Of a truth, I have made mine emancipation become by compassion, yet ruthless, fierce thoughts invade my heart and stay. Speak to him in like manner, for this is just the escape from ruthless, fierce thoughts. I mean, mine emancipation by compassion. Or suppose he were to say, I have made mine emancipation become by joy, yet aversion invades my heart and stays. Speak to him in like manner, for this is just the escape from aversion, I mean mine emancipation by joy. Or suppose he say, I have made mine emancipation become by equanimity, yet passion invades my heart and stay. Speak to him likewise, for this is just the escape from passion, I mean mine emancipation by equanimity. Or suppose he say, I have made mine emancipation become by the signless, yet my thoughts run after signs. Speak to him likewise, for this is just the escape from all signs, I mean mine emancipation by the signless. Or suppose monks, a monk were to say this, I am free of the thought I am, nor do I perceive within me the thought this I am, yet the dart of doubt and questioning, how, invades my heart and stays. Speak to him and say, Go now, speak not so, Reverend Sir, distort not the word of the Exalted One. Ill is it to distort his word thus. Verily, the Exalted One would never speak so. It is not possible, sir, nor could it happen, that when one is free of the thought I am, and sees not within one the thought this I am, the dart of doubt and questioning, how, can invade the heart and stay. It is not possible. Indeed, sir, this is just the escape from the dart of doubt and questioning. I mean the complete rooting out of the conceit I am. Verily, monks, these are the 6 factors whereby should be escaped. Here, the first 4 things are about the Brahma Viharas. And from here, you get an idea how the exact definition of those Pali words, metta, karuna, mudita, and upekkha. Because here is mentioned the opposite. Like when you practice metta and you develop metta, it is not possible for ill will to stay, for ill will to arise, because ill will is the opposite of metta. So metta can be translated as goodwill. And the second one is ruthless and fierce thoughts cannot arise if you develop compassion. And compassion, karuna, is the opposite of ruthless and fierce thoughts. And the third one, sometimes people translate as sympathetic joy. If you practice mudita, it is not possible for aversion to arise. Because when there's a lot of joy in you, there cannot arise aversion. So the mudita means joy. And the fourth one If you develop upekkha, passion cannot arise, because the opposite of passion is equanimity. And then the fifth one is the signless. If you develop the mind to such a peaceful state, to such a still, tranquil state, then there is no sign, no nimitta, no object in the mind. Then the thoughts cannot run after signs. Then the last one is interesting, because if a monk were to develop his mind until it's so tranquil that the thought or the feeling, I am, which is always present in us normally, does not arise, and he does not perceive within himself that he is this or that, then doubts about the path cannot arise. This last one concerns the fourth method of meditation mentioned by Venerable Ananda in the previous sutta, Anguttara Nikaya 4.170, where it was mentioned by Venerable Ananda that when the monks and nuns attain arahanthood, and they come and declare to him that they had attained arahanthood, Venerable Ananda said that all of them attain arahanthood by one of four ways. The first one is they develop samatha first, followed by vipassana. The second one is vipassana first, followed by samatha. The third one is samatha and vipassana at the same time. And the fourth one is they meditate on the self, which is the I am, the thought, the feeling of I am, which is inbuilt in every one of us, the source of the ego. And if we meditate, put our mind on that, the feeling of I am, the mind becomes more and more tranquil, because as long as we are focused on the feeling or the thought I am, the thoughts do not arise, other thoughts do not arise. So we go deeper and deeper into our mind. And if the mind becomes so still that the I am dissolves, there is no more ego felt, then the way is sure. There is no more doubt in you how to pursue the path to Nibbana. So this is a very interesting method. It is suttas like this, that give us more insight into how to practice. The next sutta is 6.2.16. Once, while the Exalted One was dwelling among the Bhagis on Crocodile Hill in the deer park at Besakala Grove, the good house father, Nakula's father, or Nakula Pitta, lay sick and ailing, grievously ill. Now his wife, Nakula Mata, or Nakula's mother, spoke thus to him, I pray, good man, die not fretfully. Ill is the fate of the fretful. Decried by the Exalted One is the fate of the fretful. Maybe, good man, you think, alas, when I am gone, the good wife, Nakula's mother, will not be able to support the children, nor keep the household together. But think not so, good man, for I am skillful at spinning cotton, at carding the matted wool, and I can support the children, keep the household, after you have gone. Wherefore, good man, die not fretfully. Ill is the fate of the fretful. Decried by the Exalted One is the fate of the fretful. Or maybe you think, the good wife, when I am gone, will go to another man. But think not so, good man, for you and I know how for 16 years we have lived as housefolk the holy life. Wherefore, good man, die not fretfully. Or maybe you think, the good wife, after I am gone, will have no desire to see the Exalted One, no desire to see the monks of the Sangha. But think not so, good man, for verily when you are gone, greater shall be my desire to see the Exalted One. Greater shall be my desire to see the Sangha. Wherefore, good man, die not fretfully. Or maybe you think, the good wife, after I am gone, will not keep the virtues in full. But think not so, good man. For so long as the Exalted One shall have white-robed women lay disciples, folk with homes, who keep the virtues in full, I shall be one of them. And if any shall doubt or deny it, let him go and ask the Exalted One. That Exalted One, Arahant Sammasambuddha, who dwells here among the Bhagis on Crocodile Hill in the deer park at Besakala Grove. Wherefore, good man, die not fretfully. Or maybe you think the good wife will not gain the calm of heart within herself. But think not so, good man, for as long as the Exalted One shall have white-robed women lay disciples who gain that state, I shall be one of them. And if any shall doubt or deny it, let him go and ask the Exalted One. Wherefore, good man, die not fretfully. Maybe, good man, you think, the good wife, Nakula's mother, will not in this Dhamma Vinaya win to the firm ground, win a firm foothold, win comfort, dissolve doubt, be freed of uncertainty, win confidence, become self-reliant, live in the teacher's word. But think not so, good man, for so long as the Exalted One shall have white-robed women lay disciples, folk with homes, who in this Dhamma Vinaya win to the firm ground, win a firm foothold, win comfort, dissolve doubt, become freed of uncertainty, win confidence, become self-reliant, and live in the teacher's word, I shall be one of them. And if any shall doubt or deny it, let him go and ask the Exalted One, that Exalted One, Arahant Sammasambuddha, who dwells here among the Bhagis on Crocodile Hill in the deer park at Besakala Grove. Wherefore, good man, die not fretfully. Ill is the fate of the fretful. Decried by the Exalted One is the fate of the fretful. Now while the good man was being counselled with this counsel by Nakula's mother, even as he lay there, his sickness subsided, and Nakula's father arose from that sickness, and thus that sickness was laid aside by the good man of the house. Now not long after he had got up, Nakula's father, leaning on a stick, visited the Exalted One, saluted him and sat down at one side. And to him thus seated, the Exalted One said this, It has been to your gain, good man. You have greatly gained, good man, in having had the good wife, Nakula's mother, full of compassion and desiring your weal or good, as a counselor, as a teacher. Verily, so long as I have white-robed women lay disciples, folk with homes, who keep the virtues in full, the good wife, Nakula's mother, will be one of them. So long as I have lay disciples who gain the calm of heart within the self, she will be one of them. So long as I have lay disciples who in this Dhamma Vinaya win to the firm ground and live in the teacher's word, the good wife will be one of them. It has been to your gain, good man, you have greatly gained, good man, in having had the good wife, Nakula's mother, full of compassion and desire for your weal, as a counselor, as a teacher. That's the end of the sutta. So you see, when this Nakula's father came to see the Buddha, even before he said anything, the Buddha, because of the psychic ability to read his mind, the Buddha straight away told him and confirmed what his wife had said, that she has the virtues in full, that she has tranquility of mind, that she has unshakable faith in the Buddha. This couple, Nakula's mother and Nakula's father, were a very loving couple, and they were like exemplary disciples of the Buddha. And from this sutta you can see it is gain to have a wise wife or a wise husband who encourages and supports one in the spiritual path, who's able to speak the right words at the right time. The other thing you see, that when the Nakula's mother was giving all this advice to Nakula's father, he recovered from his sickness, which shows that much of our sickness is due to our frame of mind. If we have the right frame of mind, then we can recover from our sickness. And also you notice the words of Nakula's mother. You can see how some lay disciples during the Buddha's time, how they practiced so well, kept the precepts so purely, practiced meditation to calm the mind, and have unshakable faith in the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha from listening to the Buddha's words, and live their lives according to the Dhamma. Such people are rare to find, even before and also now. The next sutta, 6.2.17. On one occasion, while he dwelt near Savatthi at Jeta Grove in Anathapindika's park, the Exalted One, rising from solitude in the evening, approached the service hall or sala, and on arriving sat down on the seat ready there. Then too the Venerable Sariputta, rising from solitude in the evening, went to the service hall, saluted the Exalted One and sat down at one side. So likewise came the Venerable Mahamoggallana, the Venerable Mahakassapa, the Venerable Mahakachana, the Venerable Mahakotita, the Venerable Mahachunda, the Venerable Mahakapina, the Venerable Anuruddha, the Venerable Revata, and the Venerable Ananda, and they all sat down at one side. Now after passing much of the night thus seated, the Exalted One rose and entered the dwelling. And soon after he had gone, the venerable monks also rose and went, each to his dwelling. But the novices, not long gone forth, newly come to this Dhammavinaya, went on snoring and sleeping there, even until sunrise. I'll just stop here for a moment. You see, normally during the Buddha's time, from the suttas, we find that the monks in the morning, they'd go out on Pindabat, arms round, and then they come back and they take their meal. And after taking their meal, they would find a secluded place to practice meditation. And this they would do for the most part of the day. And then when the sun goes down, they would go to where the leader was. In this case, the Buddha was there, they would go to the Buddha. If the Buddha was not around, then they would go to the most senior monk. And there they would discuss Dhamma. Sometimes they would discuss Dhamma. And like in this case, this one of the days when the Buddha had nothing to say to them. Probably he had taught them so much. So he just sat in meditation, and they also followed him, sat in meditation. And after some time, he went back to his kuti to take his rest. And senior monks also did likewise, went back to the kuti to take a rest. But the young monks, they were in the sala and they were sleeping in the sala and snoring there until the sunrise. And the sutta continues. And the Exalted One, seeing with the Deva eye, surpassing the purity of man's, those monks snoring and sleeping till sunrise, went to the service hall and sat down, and being seated addressed them, saying, Monks, where is Sariputta? Where is Mahamoggallana? Where is Mahakassapa, Mahakachana, Mahakotita, Mahachunda, Mahakapina, Anuruddha, Revata, Ananda? Where have these elder disciples gone, monks? And they answered, Lord, they too, soon after the Exalted One's departure, rose and went, each to his dwelling. And the Buddha said, Monks, then you are now elders, yet novice-like you sleep and snore till sunrise. What think you, monks? Have you either seen or heard of a warrior, Raja, crowned and anointed, living a life of indulgence, giving given over to the pleasures of the bed, indolence and sloth to his heart's content, and ruling all his life, the darling and favorite of the country folk? No, indeed, Lord. Well, monks, neither have I. Or have you seen or heard of a farmer, a landowner's son, a general, a village headman, a guild master, each living a life of indulgence, and each managing his affairs all his life, the darling and favorite of his underlings? No, indeed, Lord. Well, monks, neither have I. Then have you ever seen or heard of a recluse or a Brahmin indulging himself to his heart's content in the pleasures of bed, indolence and sloth, with sense doors unguarded, knowing no moderation in eating, not practicing wakefulness, without right view, nor practicing the practice day in and day out of making become things that wing to his awakening? Yet having destroyed the asavas and being asava-free, entering and abiding in liberation by mind, in liberation by wisdom, and realizing it here and now by his own knowledge. No, indeed, Lord. Well, monks, neither have I. Wherefore, monks, train yourselves thus. We will become guarded as to the sense doors. No moderation in eating. Be practiced in wakefulness. Possess right view, and dwell day in and day out, practicing the practice of making become things that wing to our awakening. Verily, monks, train yourselves thus. That's the end of the sutta. Here the Buddha is telling the young monks that when the elder monks are not around, then they are considered the senior monks. Then they should act like senior monks and not indulge in sleep unmindfully. You can see that the Buddha's standard is quite high, and he doesn't like his disciples to sleep so much. In the Buddha's teachings, he encouraged the disciples to sleep just a minimum amount, just enough to have enough rest. And these things that he encouraged the young monks to practice, these are the important practices, guarded as to the sense doors, moderation in eating, devoted to wakefulness, possess right view, etc. So I'll stop here, and if you have any questions, we can discuss. Sutta 6.2.18. Once, when the Exalted One with a great company of monks walked a tour among the Kosalis, he saw as he went along the highway a fisherman who had caught a haul of fish and was selling them as a fishmonger. And the Exalted One, at the sight, stepped off the road and sat down at the foot of a tree on a seat made ready for him. And sitting there, he said to the monks, "Monks, see you that fisherman selling fish as a fishmonger?" "Yes, Lord." "Then what think you, monks? Have you either seen or heard of a fisherman, fishmonger, slaughtering and selling fish, and as a result of such deeds, of that way of living, going about on an elephant, or on horseback, or in a chariot or carriage, or feasting at feasts, or living in the abundance of great wealth?" "No, indeed, Lord." "Well, monks, neither have I. And why is that? Verily, monks, evilly minded, he gloats on fish being slaughtered, being brought to the slaughter, and because of that he goes not about on an elephant, nor on horseback, nor in a chariot, nor carriage, nor feast at feast, nor lives in the abundance of great wealth. What think you, monks? Have you either seen or heard of a butcher slaughtering and selling cattle, rams, pigs, or beasts of the forest, and living in the abundance of great wealth?" "No, indeed, Lord." "Well, monks, neither have I. And why is that? Verily, monks, it is because he gloats evilly on their being slaughtered, being brought to the slaughter. Indeed, monks, he who gloats evilly on creatures being slaughtered, being brought to the slaughter, shall not go about on elephants, nor on horseback, nor in chariots, nor in carriages, nor feast at feasts, nor live in the abundance of great wealth. But what shall be said of him who gloats evilly on human beings being slaughtered, being brought to the slaughter? Verily, monks, it shall be to his harm and hurt for many a day, for on the breaking up of the body after death, he shall arise in the wayward way, the ill way, the abyss, hell. That's the end of the sutta. Here the Buddha is making the point that a person who has a livelihood such as this, as a butcher or a fishmonger, he has low or base thinking, and because of his base thinking, he does not have much merit. He does not have the blessings of great wealth, etc. But sometimes there may be exceptions, because sometimes you find somebody doing an evil occupation, yet he seems to be having a good life, he seems to be very rich and all that. That is probably due to his good karma from the past. But because of his present deeds, he is using up his good karma, and either in this life itself he will suffer later, or in the next birth.